Welcome, everybody. We're delighted that you have joined us today. Can I introduce myself? First of all, I am Wendy Arnold from ELT Consultants. Let me introduce you to Juana. Juana.
Hi, I am Juana Zagaray. I am currently a Bridge Council project manager in Venezuela. And I'll pass it to Maria Teresa.
Hi, my name is Maria Teresa Fernandez, and I work as a researcher for this case study. I'll hand over to Juana now.
Oh. All right, so I'm going to share the screen.
Okay. This we are, as you can add questions. Let's say that we can add question in the chat box, as this is a pre-recorded session, but we are attending live, and we'll answer as we present as well as at the end of the session. Okay, we are going to talk about a case study we carried out in the context of a project we are running in Venezuela, English in the public primary school. The aim of this project is to teach English to generalist teachers so they can introduce English into the public primary school. To give you some context, Venezuela is located at the northern end of South America. There are 24 states, including Caracas, the capital city. We can say that Venezuela is a melting pot, the cultures and languages. Here there are people from many parts of the world. There are Chinese, Spanish, German, Portuguese, Italians. And English is really important, mainly because of the oil industry, which is the main source of income, and for tourism. Though English is important and necessary, it is only mandatory in public secondary education. And the reason why this has not been introduced to the public primary school, though it is part of the national curriculum, is that there is not enough English teachers in the country to cover the demand. So for this reason, we made a first attempt in 2013, and we made alliance with the most important teacher training college in Venezuela, UPEL, and we had a diploma DIPEL, and we reached about 7 states in the country. The idea was this, to train generalist primary teachers and to take them from A0 level to A1. And they received this course during a year. We prepared 10 modules for both teachers and facilitators. And the program ran for a year. Then in 2016, we made alliance with the Ministry of Education, and through a postgraduate course they have, which is PNFA, that train as a generalist teacher, we implemented the project. And again, we train primary teachers, and the idea is to take them from A0 to A1. The course lasts a year, and during these years, they take classes on Saturdays from 8 in the morning to 4. And during these sessions, they are trained in the methodology to teach young learners, as well as English, so they can be more proficient in the language. So we're using the 10 modules we had already created for DIPEL. So keep in mind that these generalist we are working with generalist teachers. We are giving them the methodology to work with young learners, and English so that they can increase their level of English from A1 to from A0 to A1. We have also created materials for the teachers and for the students. We have produced books for 4th to 6th grades, and also materials for the teachers. We have created teachers' notes so they can work with the material. And we have also trained facilitators and tutors. So I will hand it over to Wendy. She's going to explain the material we have developed.
Right, hi. So as the consultant on this project, we developed a trainer's manual and a teacher's workbook for each of the 10 modules. And this is what the trainers delivered, the facilitators. In Venezuela, a trainer is called a facilitator. This is what they use to train the teachers. The actual training is split into 2 parts. One is for language proficiency, and the second one is pedagogy. And each of these modules, the teacher had to go back into the classroom and then come back for the next module and show evidence that they had actually incorporated some of the ideas from the module in their actual classroom practice. In addition, we then, once we were quite confident that we had teachers that had some language, English language, and that they were confident enough to use it in the classroom, we developed materials, classroom materials for the teachers to use. And this came in a classroom materials for the children, 5 topics. We used the spiral curriculum that was repeated from grade 4 to grade 5 to grade 6 in ever increasing depth. The teachers had their own teachers' books. Now, what was innovative about the teachers' books at the time was that we used their native language, Spanish, for the actual steps, because the teacher's English level wasn't high enough to write the whole lesson plan in English. So we wrote that in Spanish, but the delivery of the materials, the classroom materials, was in English. And this is what the teachers practiced to make sure that they had the instructions, classroom management instructions, and the target language all in English. We also divided a lesson into 4 equal parts of 15 minutes each. And this was to increase the flexibility of the usage of the materials. And we restricted the amount of new language that was introduced in each lesson so that the teacher could actually cope with the amount of new language that they had to use to deliver the materials, but also the target language for the students to learn. All right, I pass over to the researcher now.
Okay, the main goal of the case study was to evaluate the impact of the program English in the primary school. The PNFA, which is a program, the postgraduate course that the generalist teachers are taking in the framework of this project, has a common hierarchy in all states of the country. So there is a general coordinator, a tutor, one or two facilitators who are in charge of training the teachers. The methodology we used for this case study was divided in 4 stages. A first stage for planning and designing research tools. stages 2 and 3 for data collection, and stage 4 for analyzing data and writing a report. For the case study, we followed a profile. This profile contained the characteristics we were looking for in the teachers that were going to participate in the case study. For example, we wanted teachers that were in the classrooms working with 4th, 5th, or 6th grade. The teacher should have at least 5 years of teaching experience. They should have an English level of A0 according to the Common European Framework of References. And these teachers should be using the materials. For this case study, we use different research tools with the teachers, the students, the principals, the facilitators, tutors, and the general coordinator of the PNFA. After running a survey with all participants of the second cohort, we selected 10 teachers for the case study that followed the profile, and they were located to the southeast part of the country, in the center, and to the west. Okay, I'm going to talk about the findings now. We divided the findings in 3 main groups, depending on the impact this project had on the teachers, the students, and the community. Regarding the teacher, we observed that the teacher's methodology improved considerably, not only teaching English lessons, but also teaching the other subjects. The teachers admitted that the strategies they learned in the program were very useful for teaching history, language, maths, science, and the other subjects they usually teach in primary school. They said that simple things like giving instructions step by step or asking students to work in groups or pairs were the type of things that they implemented and that was successful for them. Here you can see some pictures of activities that they were doing in the classroom. For example, they were working in groups, as you can see, the children. They were using the material design, using puppets. In this program, the teachers also learned to create their own materials using recycled cardboard or paper, as you can see in this picture. We also observed that the teacher's attitude was affected positively with this program. They admitted that they feel more confident now when teaching to the children. They feel satisfied because of the results they've seen in their own classrooms, and that has helped them increase their self-esteem. We also observed that the teacher's family had a role in this project because their support was fundamental for the teachers to continue in the program. Sometimes teachers said that they rehearsed the lessons they were going to teach to their students with their own children. So even the teachers' children at home were learning English as well. They also said that their relatives helped them to create the resources for the lessons, so they got involved in the project. We also found that there were multiple challenges the teachers faced while in this program. And these challenges were mainly because of a crisis we live in Venezuela. In 2018 and 2019, before the pandemic arrived to this country, there were multiple blackouts. There were problems with transportation and lack of fuel and cash, and many difficult situations that the teacher had to face every day But we observed that even though they faced these challenges, they managed to continue in the program. We also observed that this project had an impact on the children. In every single classroom that we observed, we noticed that the common factor was the students' motivation. Children were always enthusiastic. They wanted to participate in the activities, and they were always eager to show what they have learned. So that was something like an engine for this program. Teachers also said that students' behavior improved after starting the English lessons in the classrooms. They said that the shyest students started participating in the activities, and even the children who usually disturb the lessons, they got engaged with the English lessons and wanted to participate in the activities. The community, the school community was also part of this project because for this program, only one or two teachers from each school participated in the project. So the rest of the community was curious about the English lessons that were taking place in the school. So sometimes other teachers asked the teachers participating in this program for tips to teach English to their own students, and the rest of the community, even janitors, the authorities, all of them knew that there were English, that there were English lessons in the schools because the children enthusiasm, and the children wanted to show everyone that they knew English. So they were greeting people in English. They were using English in the corridors, in the yards. So that was kind of a revolution in each school in which this program took place. Okay, parents were really receptive with this program. They were happy that their children were having the chance to learn English because, as Juana mentioned, this was a privilege only for students who study in private schools. So the fact that English arrived to public primary school was something they were grateful about. They were so supportive that sometimes they helped the teachers to create materials. The principals were also happy with this program. The ones that we interviewed, they said they were really proud to have English lessons in their schools, and even people from the rest of the community asked them for places for their children to study in that school because they had heard that they had English lessons. So that was something rewarding for these principals because in a way it helped the school to have a better status. Okay, some reflections that that we found after analyzing the findings is that there is a change in the roles in the classroom. As you heard before, teachers were learning English almost simultaneously with the students. So that produced a dual learning process in which the teacher was part of a group, and that was not negative. That helped the children feel in a better environment in which they don't see the teacher as an authoritative in an authoritative role, but rather as a person that's helping them in their process. Because of this dual learning process, we also found something that we call emerging cooperative learning. Traditionally, cooperative learning is a child helping another child to learn together. But as we could observe that as they are learning both at the same time, sometimes the children help the teacher to learn new things as well. We also found that there was an empowerment of a teacher because they grew not only professionally, but even personally. They improved their self-esteem, they felt more confident, and that was positive for them. the children were also empowered. They showed they were confident by learning something new, and they felt proud of knowing something that most of the rest didn't know, and that made them feel good. We also found something called a rising facilitator. Traditionally for this program, facilitators were English teachers, but after the first cohort finished, in this second cohort, we found some facilitators who are generalist teachers who graduated from the first cohort. And this has some advantages because they already had experience to the program themselves. They already know how to work with children. They are very creative and good at creating materials and adapting songs and games, but they still need more language. Even though they already improved their English level from A0 to A1, as they become facilitators, they need to continue learning. We also noticed that there is a transition towards a communicative class in the sense that even though teachers have some voice in the class, because sometimes there is student-student interaction, we notice that it prevails teacher-student interaction. So this is something that they need to work on. And all the classroom environment that we observed was a nice classroom environment in which children felt good. They had games, they had songs, so that was an enjoyable classroom environment in which they had the chance to learn faster. And finally, there is this integration school community, because what's going on in the English class was shared with the rest of the school community. I hand over to Juan.
Numbers show how the program has impacted the teachers and children. We have trained more than 200 tutors and facilitators, and we have also trained generalist primary teachers, more than 4,000 generalist primary teachers using our PNFA courses. And more than 78 public primary school students introduced to English. So during these 5 years. When the pandemic arrived, we wanted to give continuity to the program because of the positive outcome shown by the case study. So we produced also an app for the students and teachers to continue working remotely, and also for teachers and facilitators so they could continue their training. And as not all the teachers and not all the students have internet connection, we also created some radio programs that are now being broadcasted all over the country by local radio stations. All this content of the radio programs are based on the books and all the material we have produced for the project. So it has been positive because not only the children that are part of the program have continued learning, but also their families and other children that don't even go to school are learning some English. So the case study is making an impact on the teaching of English in Venezuela, and we can also see this because of the monitoring and evaluation overall these years. And because of that, we have published four reports, and it has been really good that now the project or the whole program has been accredited by the Ministry of Education. Now the PNFA is training the 4th cohort, and teachers' English language proficiency level has increased and from A1 to A2. And well, here you have the links for the publication we have in case you want to consult them. And thank you so much. If you have questions, then you can add them to the chat box.
All right. Okay, so we have pre-recorded this presentation, but hopefully we have also attended as the audience. So we now have an opportunity to answer any additional questions that you might have had that we haven't answered in the chat box.